Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hello and welcome. I am JB Webb, and on today's show, we will have a quick look at one of my favorite Orlando art couples, Divine Chi, and their quick performance at Nude Night. And we have a very in-depth interview with Joseph Allen White. He is an Orlando musician who has a very interesting backstory and makes great music, so we hope you please enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Right, and welcome back to the JB Webb Show. I am JB Webb, and those were the sounds of Joseph Allen White. We're very happy to have on the show with us Joseph Allen White, who is a new breed of a singer-songwriter, with the new being the imperative word. Remarkably, White took his first guitar lesson in March of 2008, wrote his first song in December of 2009, and then released his debut album, Things Change, in January 2011. Joseph Allen White performs live and continues to write and record new music. So, literally, a musical neophyte, instantly having some great success. On the line with us, we have Joseph Allen White, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good to be here. Fantastic. Friday.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. There's a question I had, though, regarding, I've heard you referred to as Joe White. Is it okay people call you Joe White or Joseph Allen White, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, my friends just call me Joe. Pretty much everyone, I'm just Joe. The only reason I did Joseph Allen White for the music thing is because Joe White is such a common name.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But Joseph Allen White's my full legal name, but all my friends call me Joe, so just call me Joe.
All right, good. All right, so Joe, what's the deal with as far as, okay, so in this short timeline, 3-4 years, you basically learn music, start to play it, and then just are pushing out really soulful music right now. Can you kind of deconstruct that for us? How this all kind of come to pass, and was music always, something in the back of your mind?
Kind of started back in college. I realized I could sing when a couple of friends of mine took me to a karaoke bar, and I sang Let Her Cry. It was the first time I ever sang in front of anybody, and everyone just went kind of nuts for it. And so then all of a sudden I was like, I love singing.
Right.
So then I just, went to karaoke bars and sang and all this stuff. But, I never really thought about doing anything else with it because I didn't play an instrument. I never thought about writing a song. I didn't really think of doing anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the summer of 2009. Everything just kind of happened, one thing after another, and it all kind of fell in place. And it started in July, a few days before my 8-year wedding anniversary, and I found out that my wife was having an affair.
Oh, man.
Everything happens for a reason, and I'm a great example of that. And I was just put in this weird situation, and I just focused on getting better at the guitar, because at the time I couldn't even play and sing at the same time.
Okay.
So I just kept playing and tried to learn some cover songs, and a few short months later, after I'd learned about 30 cover songs, I wrote my first song called Again, and as soon as I wrote that, I was just ecstatic, and I was just bouncing around the house, trying to show it to everyone that I knew. And then 2 days after that, I wrote my second song. A week later, I wrote a third, and by the time that December was over of 2009, I'd written about 8 songs.
Wow. Wow.
And truly just how everything works in mysterious ways. About a year earlier, when I had just taken my first guitar lesson, I was at a karaoke bar in Claremont, Florida, and I sang a song, and a guy comes up to me and tells me he owns a studio in Orlando and would love to get me in sometime.
Wow, that's cool.
Just to lay down a track or something. Right. So I followed up with him a few days after that, and it turns out all he wanted me to do was come in and maybe sing a karaoke track, and, we'd get like a really good recording and, whatever, and it didn't, all of a sudden the excitement wore off. I'm like, that's really not that cool. But after I started writing these songs, I found his card, and I emailed him some of the, home recordings that I had done, and he got really excited about it. And it turns out his name is Andy Anderson, with WeBB Studios here in Orlando.
Okay. And
he's actually an award-winning studio engineer. He's worked with some big-name Christian rock bands. Group One Crew is like a huge name in those circles, and he's done a lot of work with them. So we get in. He tells we get in that first day in the studio, and I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. What I thought was maybe he would record me and the guitar, and then maybe add like a drum track to it.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we had 3 fully produced songs that sounded like they could be played on the radio.
Okay.
And I was just blown away. And then as soon as I left that day, I'm like, I'm putting the CD together.
Wow.
Like I'm taking this to a whole new level. And I never would have even imagined that had all those things not fallen into place.
Right.
And so So over the course of 2010, I was just in and out of the studio, kept writing new songs, and basically that entire year was working on the album Things Change, and it was released a year later, the last January of 2011.
Right. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'm definitely throwing all this up there so people can check it out and go find out where to hear this music. But the coolest, facet of this story, from my opinion, is just that you had this tragic turmoil type of moment, and you kind of used music in a cathartic, almost positive way, and invested, instead of spoiling your self on the bad thing that happened, you turned it into something good. And kind of unleash the passion, so that's what I think is cool, is that you flipped it. You took this bad and made it good. Do you, was this kind of always in your mentality to, overcome problems with, just hard work and dedication to something new to preoccupy you, or is this, more solely designated to this particular incident over the last 3 or 4 years?
It's weird. I've always been fairly artistic.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a writer.
Okay. Cool.
And I just, I've always been searching for something to be passionate about. And, I've written a screenplay that's really gone nowhere. Had all kinds of lofty aspirations of writing a book here, book there.
Right.
But nothing ever really formulated from any of that. And when, I'm telling you, it was December 6th, 2009, that's the day that my life changed, because that's the day that I wrote that first song.
Okay.
And as soon as I wrote my first song, it was just, I was unstoppable. All I wanted to do is write more songs, write better songs.
Right.
And that's what I've done. So, it was just kind of this new discovery on that day. And, it was the craziest day, too, because I was miserably hungover, and, normally when I'm hungover, I'm not the most productive. But that day was different, and I'll always remember December 6th, 2009. Well,
and that's awesome, and that's in less than 3 years later, here you are. You've got your debut album out there.
I'm working on album number 2 now.
You're a singer-songwriter. You're classified as adult contemporary country rock. Do you see yourself getting into any other veins of music? Is there anything else now that you want to kind of tackle? I mean, given the fact that what you've accomplished in 2 years, I'm curious to hear what you may want to do for the next 2 or 3 years. Any other types of music or anything, or art?
I don't know if I can really. I mean, I could probably write some country music. I guess we haven't talked about the fact that around the same time that I started getting into the studio, I started playing some open mics around town.
Okay.
Really, maybe 3 weeks after I wrote the first song, and I had about 5 songs written. I played my very first open mic downtown Orlando, and I was just shivering, just quaking in my boots,
Stage?
absolutely terrified. And it was a small little audience. It's not like, I was playing on a big stage or anything, but I was just absolutely terrified.
Right.
But then every week after that, pretty much, I kept going back and I kept playing, and it just kept getting easier and easier. And now when I play, I still get a little bit of nerves, but it's nothing.
Right, compared to that first
like
time.
That was.
Well, so yeah. Besides the karaoke, that's a little different, right? Just being the sole person in the room making the noise.
So playing live, I continue to try and get better at that. I want to keep trying to play bigger and better venues. But one of the thing that I'm really focused on is the songwriting itself. I just signed with an agency in LA called Mighty Generation Music, and they focus on not really record deals. They're not focused on trying to make me a rock star or anything. What they're focused on is pitching my songs to film and TV for placement.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And really, that's ever since the beginning, that's kind of what I had in mind can I write a song and have it cut by, Tim McGraw,
right,
or have a song get, placed in a commercial or something like that. Being a rock star and touring the nation and doing all this stuff. Granted, if somebody were to give me a call tomorrow and say, "Hey, Joe, we want you to tour the country and play your music," I'd be like, "Okay, fine, that's awesome." But the more realistic dream for me has always been, write a hit song and either have somebody else record it,
right,
name artist,
ghostwriter kind
or
of,
yeah, or get it cut in a TV show or something.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. No, and that's cool that you kind of have that line on it. So in that vein, I guess now that you've told me that, do you play any other instruments or?
No. Yeah,
just the guitar.
The guitar.
You're not gonna. Yeah, okay. You're not gonna hop over to the piano next or something, or?
No.
Okay.
No, the guitar is
all right.
hard enough for me.
All right. Well, if in 2 years you've already done that, then I'll know. That's anyway.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. So you made a pretty big impact here in Central Florida. You're still playing around locally. I read a little bit of buzz about going up to Nashville and stuff like that. I mean, what type of music do you prefer? Are you a country guy? Do you like more rock or what? Because it's country rock. So what's your preference for music? What do you listen to?
I like some of the crossover country.
Okay.
I've never been like a straight up country fan.
Okay.
I went up to Nashville for a songwriting workshop with a bunch of country songwriters, and I think a lot of faces turned white when I told them, like, I've never really listened to much country, but I like just your John Mayers, your Howie Days,
Okay.
Really stuff that's similar in vein to the kind of stuff that I write.
Okay.
But I like a wide range, everything from Elton John to Bon Jovi to,
Okay.
Pink to, as long as it's not gangster rap, I could probably get into it.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. So now we're going to close out here in a minute with one of your songs, and it's Crash Course from that debut album last January. And
No. Actually, Crash Course is that's going to be the title track for album number 2, which is coming.
Oh, we're ahead of the game. All right, very cool.
That's not even released yet.
Okay. Oh, so I'm able to play it then.
Oh yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks. Joe, what are there spots locally that you typically frequent where people can pretty much guarantee to go out and see? I know through Reverb Nation, a lot of your playing dates are listed through there, I think. But is there a spot you like to frequent?
I'm really trying to branch out because I got started playing at Tom and Jerry's in Winter Park because they have an open mic and I was a frequent there. And so pretty much any time I want to play a live gig there, they're more than happy to take me. And then there's a number of places in Claremont where I lived for the past. I live downtown Orlando now, but
Okay.
I lived in Claremont for 8 years, and so there's a couple places out there. Kelly's Brick House, Vineyards of the World. We're actually playing the first Saturday of every month there.
Cool.
But really, in Orlando, I'm really trying to just get my name out there and play different spots there.
Well, perfect. That's a perfect segue to let people know. Get into the mix. You can best communicate with Joe White or Joseph Allen White through Facebook, Reverb Nation. Get involved to listen to some of his music. You like it, you dig it. You've got the ability to get him here in Orlando in some open venues, and I think that we're just going to see stellar stuff from Joseph Allen White, which is who we've been speaking with. Thank you for your time, Joe. If you hang on the line with me, I'm going to close this out with a little bit of a sneak peek at a song called Crash Course for the second album from Joseph Allen White. You've been listening to the JB Webb Show. Keep it all together. We got plenty more.
She thinks romance is an act of fiction, that a love song is just a contradiction. She does what she wants and she does not feel guilty. She is a crash course in the field of sexy. She'll look into your eyes and see